Simply curtain that rises to the stage. Silly game of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because Wall Street over there's a life I could have known. Would have kept me from the one I had today.
Oh my goodness, that's the Ridgetop Ramblers opening us up again this morning. This is 1100 WSGI, and this is One Street Over, our little theme song. Love hearing the Ramblers first thing in the morning, and I've had a lot of people ask me to play that song in its entirety because everybody just kind of loves it. And if you want to hear more about their music, just reach out to the Ramblers online. You can go and check out their Facebook page, and of course, they're the ones. David Mitchell's part of the board bringing us the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, the 27th and 28th of August, and we're so excited about that. And we'll talk more about that later because I've got a guest in the studio that I got to get right to because I've got just a limited amount of time with you because I've got Ace and Brian coming in at 7:30, so I want to get right to it. Chris Anderson's in the house. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And Lee Marie's here as well, and we both have spoken with you on the phone about Murph's Auction House. And that's one of those things that I love auctions. I just love the interaction. I love the excitement. I've kind of avoided them because I've got too much stuff. And so now that I've got too much stuff, now I want to bring stuff to you to auction off.
I'd be glad to do it.
I'm a little afraid that I'll come and I'll bring you stuff though, and I'll end up taking home more than I leave.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does to all of us.
Isn't that funny?
Yep.
So auctioneer. Is that what you do? Is that your whole thing? Are you an auctioneer? Is that what you do?
I am an auctioneer, licensed in the state of Tennessee.
That's fun.
Can pretty much sell everything but real estate. I just hadn't got off into that part. I love the antiques and collectibles and stuff like that. That's kind of my thing. And
yeah,
been doing it a long time. I hadn't been auctioneering but for about a year now, but I've been in the auctioning business for probably 20 years, running ring, the guy out there running around on the floor catching bids, and just love it and always wanted to do it. So about a year ago, my wife said, hey, it's time for you to do it if you're going to do it. So it's pretty brutal. It's like 10 days straight class, 80-hour class to go through auction school.
Really?
It's pretty tough. And so graduated and got that done. And so here we go. It's a lot of fun.
Well, but you got to be able to do the talk too.
That's part of it, and that's a learning experience. Yeah. It's a lot of practice in the shower and riding down the road and everything else. But
funny.
But that's the easy part of the auction business.
Really?
Okay,
a little unknown thing about me because I was an FFA in school. And I did the public speaking and raised corn and all that, but there was the Wilkerson family were always our auctioneers, but they still are the auctioneers back home. And so Greg, one of the sons, was in my class, so he always got to do the auctioneering, and I wanted to. And I was afraid to tell people I want to do that, but it was because that was the thing you could do in FFA was to learn to do grain or cattle auctioning,
right?
Because we would go and I would judge cattle and do things like that, but I wanted to be the auctioneer, but Greg always got to, and I never spoke up and said, I want to learn to do that.
Right.
And I think that'd be so much fun.
It is a lot of fun, and when you say the word auction, everybody says, oh, that's a guy that sits up there and talks fast. Well, yeah, that is what happens, but there's so much behind the scenes before you ever get to that part,
Right.
Dealing with folks to get things ready and making sure you got, quality merchandise to sell. And
sure.
And if you're on the estate side of things, sometimes that's tough and emotional for people, and you have to. You're dealing, you have to deal with them like you'd want to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do. Try to be fair, and then when it's auction time, put on a good show and hope that the buyers, have a good time, get something they like, and also represent our sellers well, and hopefully can help them out as well. So it's kind of twofold business when you're up there on the stand, but
yeah,
it's fun.
Well, it's like you came in here and started talking to me about radio and stuff, but you didn't realize I've always wanted to be an auctioneer, and I just think it's cool. I think it's a cool job. People think I have a cool job.
It's not too late.
I just when I've told several auctioneers local, I'm like, I really want to do auctioneering.
Go for it. It's not too late.
But it's just one of those things in the back of my mind. I thought, I bet I could do that, but they never would let me because Greg was first, and they're going to hear about this back home. But it's just fun. We're all friends. But so we've got. I really think that Murph's really is one of the best kept secrets in the area. Just everything they're doing out there, because it's just fun and your family can come, and I just love it. It reminds me a lot of some places that are up north where my husband is from, because you can come in and you can dance and you can just have fun, but also the auction house part of it is a really big secret. Now there's the inside bunch, kind of like the fishing hole up at my house. There's an inside bunch that knows about it, and they're like, shh. Don't tell.
Right.
Well, so I think you might have a little cluster group. It's like, don't tell too many people. We'll have too many people in here bidding on this stuff, and it'll run the prices up. Do you have some of those?
That's true. Yeah. So Murph's kind of it was really God sent to me how that happened. That I went there one night and bid called for a guy that the auctioneer couldn't show up that night, and the next Friday, Murph called me and said, "Hey, I need somebody to take this auction over and run it on Thursday and Friday nights, because the auctioneer that was doing it was not able to do it anymore." And I was like, oh, wow. So it just kind of fell out of the sky. And I said, well, we'll try it, see what happens. And my wife, she's my right hand. She said, hey, let's go for it and try it, because we're trying to get it up and rolling.
Yeah.
But we're not set just to the barn. We can do auctions anywhere.
Sure.
And estate sales or whatever people need. But the barn's fun every Thursday and Friday night. We bring a lot. We got sellers that come in with a lot of new merchandise on Thursday nights. Trying to mix that up a little bit. Hadn't got to yet. It's mainly new. Friday nights is mainly the collectibles auction. We're doing vintage and furniture and more stuff like that on Friday nights. So, it's a lot of fun. Murph's is a cool place. And there's a lot of people that don't know about it. Right here, it's 5 minutes away, so.
Do you have the address on the top of your mind? Can you give it to
It's 30, I think it's 3336 Winters Road.
And that's in Adams.
It's Cedar Hill.
It's Cedar Hill address.
Cedar Hill address.
Mm-hmm. And it's off the beaten path, but it's so much fun out there. And I've got several comments already. Number one, my friend Kevin Nolan's going, Chris, what's up? Do you know who Kevin?
No, I'm.
Isn't that weird how people cross paths?
Another long-term friend of mine, probably known him 35 plus years. We worked together for years, and.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, he and we go to church together. He's one of my church family. As a matter of fact, just barbecued up a bunch of pork for me for Meals on Wheels that we served yesterday. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, he's good friend of mine.
Yeah, that's great.
Worked with him for a long time.
That's awesome.
Good guy.
But he's saying hi, and then I've got Bill Jones wanting to know, what time does the auction start?
We start at 6 o'clock.
And that's on Thursday and
Friday.
Thursday
and Friday. Mm-hmm.
And I called Chris the other day, because as we're cleaning out, we're just trying to become an empty vessel for what God wants to make into our little farm. So we're just trying to clear everything out, And so as you try to clear that out to see what God's going to fill you up with, we just got too much stuff that we need to get rid of. And some of it is just junk I need to give away. But some I'm thinking, I kind of like to yard sell it, but I don't know if I want to do another yard sale right now because of the time it takes. And I thought, well, I asked you the other day, I said, okay, I've got a huge box of cookbooks. Could I come and just auction that off? Well, so, and honestly, if I don't get anything for it, I really don't care, but it's just, it would be, I don't know, it's almost worth a try. Or is that kind of stuff a little bit too much clutter for your time?
Yeah, we're always looking for good quality consignments,
Okay.
There's that fine line. Is it really, yard sale? Or should I donate it? Or is there some value to sell? Mm-hmm. So you really just have to look at it overall and see, if it's a one-off piece or if it's, a whole house of stuff. So you just kind of got to weigh out what it is and look at what it is. And that determines, of course, the price of what it costs to sell it. And you just have to see what it is. It's so many factors in it. And and every crowd's different.
Right.
I can bring stuff to Murph's that people love, and you may take that same thing down to Franklin or Madison, and they wouldn't even want it. So it really just depends on what it is and what your crowd is, what you're selling, whether it's successful or not. It's kind of strange.
Do you still see a market? My mother collected all kinds of antique glass, depression glass. Is there still a market for that kind of stuff? Because she's kind of at that place where she's like, okay, I don't think any of you guys want this, but I'd kind of like to go ahead and sell it and do. And I was telling her about the auction house, and I said we could take a few things that you are just wanting to get rid. She's got a really cool antique oak rocking chair. It's very unique,
right?
And they had tried to Facebook market it and just didn't get much interest. But there, she might get some interest in it.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's
Very
very
possible.
unique, very, very different. So I mean, you just never know. And well, if she put it out there, can she put a minimum on it and say it's got to bring this much, or how does that work?
We try to sell absolute. I don't really like reserves.
Yeah. Okay.
Even when I was, and I still go to auctions and buy, and I we try to do everything absolute. You want people to know that they've got a chance to get that thing.
Gotcha.
And most 9 times out of 10, if it's a good piece, it's going to bring more than what the seller really wants for it anyway. Because the crowd gets excited, and there's 2 or 3 people out there that really want it. They're going to pay what it's worth.
Gotcha.
You was mentioning glassware. Glassware is there's still a demand for it. It seemed like at one time it was really big, and it kind of fell off because the market just kind of got flooded with it. It's like everybody brought it out of their cabinets because they realized what it was worth. But it's starting to come back, and you've still got people that's what they collect. So they're looking for that one piece that they don't have to complete their set. So and there again, it's just a market. It just depends on what collectors out there, what resellers out there, or somebody just says, hey, I want that to put on my shelf. So it's really an interesting business.
I bet.
And to learn the crowd, like at Murph's, you learn your crowd, and so as you get up there, and you can almost know if a certain item comes up that person is going to bid on it because that's their thing, right? So it's fun. It really is fun.
That's great because your knife collectors, your glass collectors. I was talking about the cookbooks, but see, I've also got a vast collection of paperback Star Trek novels. So that's something that's a whole like if you had like a whole set of one particular book series or something like that, maybe that would have
Absolutely.
value.
People love Star Trek stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Star Trek stuff usually brings really good money.
Oh, I may put together a Star Trek package for you.
The older stuff, they love it.
Okay.
And
I've got tons and tons of, and they're just little paperback novels. But I've gone, that's one thing. You can kind of, if you've got something you think, okay, does this have value? You can get on eBay and kind of see, can't you? Can you kind of gauge it by doing that?
You can gauge it. What people make a mistake doing on eBay and stuff like that, they look at what people's asking for something and not look at actually what it's sold for.
Gotcha.
So you got to make sure that you really look at, and you have to filter on what it's sold for, what it's, actually somebody paid dollars for it. Because people say, well, it's on there for so-and-so. Well, you can ask anything.
Right.
But what sets the value of is what something brings that day. That's really what it's worth. So the guy that taught me was, my train. Well, I want to say he was my trainer, but that I really got serious about the auction business. One of the things he used to say is, if you sell that today at auction, a live auction, what it brings that day on the block is really about what it's worth. So it's kind of a lot of truth in that, because if you've got 100 people and they're bidding on that, then that's pretty much what the market says it's worth at that time, So it's a neat business, and I've seen it ebb and flow. It's like 5 years ago, something that was worth a lot may not be worth a lot now, but the same thing that wasn't worth much 5 years ago is worth a whole lot now. So it's kind of, and it's the generations too. The younger generation, things that to us we kind of grew up with as antiques to them, where things that are antiques to us is what our parents grew up with. So it's as a generation changes, everything has to change with it, and mid-century stuff is really hot because...
What would class mid-century exactly?
60s, 70s.
Okay.
And if you think about it, that started moving into the era where things were made out of plastics.
Really?
And composites, like and the crazy colors, the oranges and yellows and greens.
Yeah.
But you think about it, a lot of that stuff, when it broke, they threw it in the trash can. They didn't fix it. So as you moved into the 80s, it even got worse. Things got thrown away. And so if that stuff survived, that's actually an antique piece to kids nowadays and a young generation. That's an antique piece to them. So
I have an easy bake oven from the 60s, but I wouldn't part with it because it was mine and my sister's.
Right.
And I can imagine it would be worth some money.
They bring a little bit, especially if they're in a box.
Oh no, this one's not in pristine shape because we were kind of rough on stuff. But it's my sister, and I'm not going to part with it. But I had somebody see that the other day, and they're like, "That's cool," and I'm not going to. It's going to just sit in my barn, I guess, because it's not going anywhere.
I understand. I've got stuff the same way,
Well, and I tell you one thing too. Working like I do in a church in benevolence, we have people give us stuff all the time, and from time to time we'll get something that I think, man, I wish I could sell that, and then just have them put the money into it. So that may be something that we'll visit doing. Because
Absolutely.
on occasion I get offered really nice pieces of furniture, and don't really know what to do with it because it's not one of those just kind of odd things to hand off. And we might be able to do that, bring things to the auction, and then the money can go back into the church.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's another part of the auction business. You get into charities and benefits and raise money for benefits and things like that. I mean, that's a whole different. It's just another part of the auction field. But yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we do try to do too, before I got rolling in the auction business, we bought a lot of estates and things like that, and sold them and stuff like that. So we would always try to give back to the community too. So if we got things that we thought, we really can't sell this, we would try to donate it to Hope Centers or places where it could, get back out into the community and help people. And so yeah, absolutely, be glad to do that for you.
Yeah, because I mean, you have things like clothes and shoes, all that, that you just take and donate because that would be just too tedious.
Right.
Anything that is tedious and just brings pennies at a yard sale, don't bring to the auction house.
Right.
Because that's just going to clutter the place up and it's going to slow the process down. So you want them to have value. Okay, so I've got to do an ad, but when we come back, let's talk about how that if somebody wants to bring something consignment, when would they need to be there? What are the stipulations? And I know when I spoke with you on the phone, you said the Thursday night's more of a kind of a tool night. You had mentioned it being a tool. So kind of give them the outlines of the things the times when they can bring some stuff and what they should bring on Thursday night versus Friday night, and kind of unpack that for us if you would.
Be glad to.
Let me do an ad real quick. We're going to stop and talk about my friends over at Riceman Buick GMC, one of the largest GMC Buick inventories in Tennessee. If you've been by there lately, there's so many pretty things you'd love to have in your driveway. it. Love we talk a lot about the Sierra because it's just got the coolest tailgate ever. It's the Swiss Army knife of tailgates, a six-function multi-pro tailgate that you've got to have. A lot of people are getting that truck just for that tailgate, and that's okay. That's why they made it that way. But it's cool. They got so many great things on the new lot coming in, and you also too might want to remember that Todd says that one of the best ways for you to get what you want on the new lot is to just come in and order it. Just come in and order your vehicle, because what happens is a lot of people, they're looking for one particular color, they're looking for a particular interior, different bells and whistles, and they're having a hard time finding it. He's like, come in and order it, because when it gets here, then it's yours when it arrives on the lot and comes off the truck. And that's something that kind of started up. A lot of people, there's people that have always done that. He says, but more and more people are doing that because of what happened with COVID and the way the plants, weren't as active and weren't as busy. And what happened is people decided that, hey, maybe if I just order what I want, then I'll get exactly what I want. So it's kind of started a trend in new vehicles that people are ordering vehicles now. But you can also always get great deals on things that are sitting there that they've got specials on. So come in and talk to the sales staff about the latest and the greatest things happening with GMC and Buick, and check out their pre-owned lot. I'm a pre-owned person. I like all the bells and whistles. That doesn't quite fit with my budget, but it does. If I buy pre-owned, I can have the most luxurious vehicle ever if it's got a few miles on it. Well, you can also get certified pre-owned that has been through a multi-point inspection to make sure it's exactly what they say it is and what it needs to be in your driveway. And they've also got all kinds of great trade-ins that come in all the time. Sometimes they'll get a vehicle that still has factory warranty left on it, because some people, they'll buy a new car, they'll drive it for a year and they turn it back in and it's got low miles. And that is a chance for you to really get a great deal. They've got a great service department. We talk about how the service department's open every single day that they're open. They have limited hours. They're not open quite as long as the dealership, but they're open until noon on Saturday. Monday through Friday, the dealership hours are 8 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. Saturday, they're open 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. And again, service hours every single day. The whole package of what you need, leasing and financing options. You can fill your application out online. Go on to ReiselmanBuickGMC.com and get a sneak peek of what's going on over at Reiselman. And just always be sure and tell them that U-Turn sent you, and thank them for being a part of our show and sponsoring our little thing we call One Street Over. And just get by there and talk to Todd. You're going to just love him and Courtney. It's just kind of neat, their story, how they came to Robertson County. They picked us, and I just love that, just like I did. I picked Robertson County when my husband and I moved here because it's such a special place. And when people realize that, I don't know, it's just a little something extra. Anyway, back to our show. We are talking with my friend Chris Anderson. He is the auctioneer extraordinaire at Murph's Barn. And Murph's, if you have not discovered it, you don't know what you're missing. It is a cool place for dance and music and food and all of that on Saturday night. But they're an auction house on Thursday and Friday night. Do they have the food available for auction night?
Yes, ma'am.
You can
Absolutely.
come in. Absolutely. But I'm sure the dance floor is kind of full with everybody kind of, they don't have room. I'm just joking. I was like, no dancing on auction night.
No dancing on auction night, but
Yeah.
there's plenty of food to eat. And I think, it's crazy because a lot of people, they're regulars, and they come and that's their thing. I guess we're going to Murph's on Thursday night and eat, and we're going to buy something. So
I love it.
it's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's really neat.
When my husband and I first married, that's what we really enjoyed doing auctions and stuff. And we were building our household. Now we're like, we got to get rid of some of this stuff. but okay, so unpack this for us.
Okay.
How do we participate? If we're somebody that wants to sell something, what we need to do?
So just need to reach out to me. I'm on. You can like me on Facebook. I got a page. It's Cool Finds Auction and Estate Services.
Cool Finds Auction and Estate Services.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. See, we'll get Lee Marie to throw that up in comments. Cool Finds Auction. Say it again.
Cool Finds Auction and Estate Services.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I've got some cards I'll leave you.
Okay.
But they can feel free to give me a call. And I got my number on my card here. I'll leave with you and everything. And let me know what you got, and if it's if you got a one-off piece, we'll have to talk about it, see what it is, see if it, like you said, if there's value there to do it. If you've got a huge thing you need to liquidate, then we'll look at it and see hey, do we bring it up to the auction hall, or hey, should we do it on site? But if you just and then I've got some everyday sellers that's all they do, and I'll kind of alternate them on Thursdays. So I try to have like 4 or 5 different sellers on Thursday night, but those guys, that's what they do. So they go all over the place to different auctions. On Friday nights, we kind of been tied down to, I have a lot of stuff that I liquidate myself. And then I've got a friend of mine that owns Prime Pickens here in Springfield that also buys estates, sells estates and things like that. And he brings a lot of stuff in, him and his wife, and we partner up with them. And so, yeah, it just really, we're here to help anybody and try to help anybody any way we can. Whether it be having an estate sale at your house, or come out and do an auction at your house, or pick stuff up and bring it to the auction barn and sell it, or if you just want to bring me 10 pieces and we talk about that and sell those. I put my model as a full service auction company. A lot of auction companies will come in and say, okay, I'll sell that, but I can't sell the rest, or don't even want to deal with the rest. I feel like if you call me, you need a service. You've got all this stuff you want to get rid of. You don't want to get rid of that one piece. So I'll try to find different ways to liquidate all of it for you, whether it be online auction, live auction, however I can to help you liquidate what you want to get rid of, so you're not stuck with anything at the end of the day, if that be the case. So, So that's what we're trying to do. That's the model we're trying to press is, hey, we'll help you whatever you need to get done what you need to do. So
I think it's a lot of fun. There was when I talk about my husband when I first married, there was an auction house, I want to say over in the Greenbrier area that we went to, and this is many, many years ago, and we loved it. We had a lot of fun, but we just got busy with family, and it is a lot of fun. If you've never been to an auction and you want to have that experience, I really encourage you to get out. But remember, you're going to spend some money. Be ready. You got to have your budget. Be kind of like you'd be if you went into the casino and say, okay, I've got this much to spend and no more. And I don't go to the casino, but that's what I don't gamble, but that's what I hear some people say is you got to maybe go in with a budget in mind. If you want to go in and you want to buy something at the auction, I really encourage you to go in with a budget in mind, because if you don't, you'll come out with a little bit of shock. Would you not say that that's not a bad idea?
That's probably a good idea,
yeah.
Especially if you're going to where there's a lot of higher end stuff, and you're going to, hey, I want to buy that sign right there, and you need a budget in mind what you're going to pay for it. I even get caught up myself. I'll be at an auction, and if I really want something, it's like, I'm not going to let that guy have it, whatever,
Yeah.
So you're right. It's probably a good thing, but it's funny to watch sometimes couples, the wife will be bidding on something, the husband's looking at her like, what are you doing? Or vice versa, And
I think Lee Marie's had those experiences. She's got that look across. She's like, yeah.
It's comical. And I've been that person because, me and my wife go to auctions as well, and she'd be buying something. I'm like, what are you buying it for? And she'd hit me with a paddle or something. But same thing. She'll look at me like sometimes, like, really, you paid for that? But, it's neat. And, the auction business has been going on for years and years. I mean, it started hundreds of years ago, and so it's neat to carry it on, and it's something I always wanted to do, and I finally got to a point in my life and my career where I could go to school, like I said, and get it going, and fixing to retire shortly from my full-time job, and this is what I want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. So
that's great fun.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, I mentioned the Wilkersons because back home up in West Kentucky, that's the ones I'm most familiar with because I'm friends with, I grew up with one of the sons, and so I think about those experiences going to those auctions and how it was a social gathering too. You went to the auction not just to bid on stuff, but to see people.
That's
and
true.
I still will go back home, and if there's an auction going and it's in the time frame, I really like going to the auction just to see everybody. And that's the kind of thing you have going up here. You've got a community and a camaraderie that I think so many of us are really hungry for right now because we've been so separated. And here's an opportunity for you to check back in, to get to know some people, to really, I don't know, just get involved with your community, just going out and having some fun and just being together.
You're right. And one of the big things in this business is contacts. It's knowing people, like me meeting you and getting to know folks. I'm big in the auction business. Building those relationships is huge, you know. And like you said, those folks come together, and a lot of them, you'll see the same folks come together at auctions. Some of the people that I'm selling to today, I've been at auctions with years ago as a buyer. And I'm like, hey, I've known you for all these years. And so you're right. It's all about relationships. And it really is. And with the COVID thing, you're right. People are itching to get out. And it's also, we feel like it's a safe place, You can bring your kids, and let your kids run around out in the parking lot and play football while we're having an auction in the barn or whatever. And it's not a lot of things you can do that anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I encourage you again. And something Lee Marie just mentioned, talking about that we had somebody on that was talking about bartering and how that some people that come to the auction houses and things like that, that's their same kind of interest. And is that what you're talking about, Lee Marie?
Remember the show you thought maybe it'd be fun to do sometime where people call in?
Oh, you're talking about where the buy-seller trade. Yeah. Buy-seller trade. Oh, yeah, because we used to do, they used to do buy-seller trade on the radio, and maybe we'll have to get you back in here sometime and let's do some buy-seller trade and do some auction on the radio. That'd be kind of fun. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be a blast.
That would be fun. I'll have to talk to my boss about that.
I don't know that anybody's doing that. So
yeah,
hey.
do a radio auction. Ooh, you're right, Lee Marie, because we had talked about doing the old buy-seller trade, and talking to Daddy on the patio about it, because he, was the one that was on the radio forever here, and he said what you get into a lot of the times when you have something every single week is you have the same person call in all the time, and so there's not a lot of new stuff. But if we had some set auction items and say, okay, we're going to do a radio auction, that might be just really fun. But we'd have to be able to take phone calls and all that kind of thing too. So there's a lot of logistics to that. I'm not sure we can pull off with the phone system we have right now, because you'd have to have multiple lines, and I don't know how you'd make that work.
Well, I mean, we could, there's way we could do it through Facebook.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of people doing simulcast and online stuff on Facebook, and people are bidding in the comment section. So you just have to have somebody monitor as they bid in the comment section. And
we could talk it up at the auctions on Thursday and Friday night and say, hey, we got a couple of cool items we're going to throw up, and do a just a Facebook auction.
That'd be a great thing for your charity too.
Yeah,
like we bring a couple pieces in and sell them, and then for the money for the church.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They got big in 2020. Everybody said, well, we can't have a live auction. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So you got the online auction platforms, which is out there like High Bid, which anybody can look at, and we do online stuff as well. But Facebook, a lot of people was doing just simulcasts and stuff on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And, you just get on their page, and as the item comes up, you comment what you want to bid. And, and so people really had to think outside the box in 20. We could do it.
Yeah.
We could pull it off.
Very fun. Very fun.
It would be fun.
We're just out of time. This has been a fun conversation. I'm so excited you
agreed.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad you agreed to come in, because I like these face-to-face interviews rather than on the phone. It just works better, and you just have it. It's just more fun. But because this is something I'm really interested in. My husband and I will be there. We kind of work all the time, but it's something we really want to do, because we just love the auction world, and just the fun and excitement of it. So tell them again when you're there and how to get in touch with them. Give them your little elevator speech about how you want them to know about it, and give your location of how they can find you twice, phone numbers, anything you want to give out, do that twice, and just tell them what time the auction starts. So give them your spiel.
So right now we're Thursday and Friday nights at Murph's Event Center on Winters Road in Cedar Hill, Tennessee. We're there every Thursday and Friday night, start at 6 o'clock. You can like us on Facebook at Cool Finds Auction and Estate Services. Be sure and like the page. You can like the group as well, but mostly on the page is where we put stuff. You can also find us on Go to Auction. We post pictures out on gotoauction.com. And the number, if you need to call me, is 615-987-4603. 615-987-4603. And my email is coolfindsauctions@yahoo.com.
Very good. Very nice to meet you, Chris. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'll be at the auction house. I'm going to bring you some stuff.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to. I'll be there. I just got to get caught up on a few things. With Easter coming up and stuff, are y'all going to be there this weekend, because it's Good Friday?
We are. I took a vote last Friday night. I was like, hey guys, what do y'all want to do? And everybody said, let's have an auction. So we're going to have one.
Very good. Very good. Awesome. Very good. My guest has been Chris Anderson, and he is with Cool Finds and Estate Services, and you can find him online, and we'll continue to give out his information. Thank you so much, Chris. And as I get ready, I'm going to let y'all switch and bring Ace and Brian in here, and as y'all are doing that, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I need to remind everybody that this Saturday is the meeting for the Republican Party. They have it. It's coming up at the Purpose Life Church. It's free admission. It starts at 8:30. They have a free buffet breakfast, and then they have the program starts up at 9 o'clock, and a real important guest this month. It's Aaron Spradlin. He is with the group that helps with child trafficking and trying to expose some of the things that are going on. And with the crisis at the border, man, it's becoming a bigger issue once again. But you need to come and hear what Aaron has to say and how we can make a difference in our own communities. But Aaron is going to be there to speak to the group again. And again, that is this Saturday. The program will start at 9, but they'll have a free buffet breakfast at 8:30. So please try to be a part of that and check that out. Now, I also want to mention my sponsor. We want to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards before we get back into the show. My good friends from the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. They are, of course, always there to help us out with the festival. They've been a part of that festival since the very beginning, and they are, of course, your realty connection. If you want somebody that understands Robertson County, they are Robertson Countyans. They've been up in Cross Plains for over 20 years. Rebecca's been at this a little bit longer, than Barry as a full-time realtor. But Barry came to the team a few years ago, came out of a marketing background, and so they're the whole package. She's got all the legalese down. She's one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist. He is the marketer, and so together they are the perfect package to make sure, whether you're a buyer or seller, that you're getting everything done exactly right, to make sure that you're competitive if you're a buyer, and that you are getting the most eyes on your property if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, get pre-qualified. Oh, by the way, get pre-qualified. You got to do that. That's one thing they're going to stress. And if you're a seller, you got to make sure you got it priced right. You can, a lot of people, buy the own or sale, but when it comes to that closing, do you really understand all the legalese that you need to make sure of before you completely close that deal? Again, Barry is a licensed and insured drone pilot, does the 360-degree virtual reality home tour. He's Zillow certified photographer. Will get you up on realtor.com. They're the whole package. And if you want something here in Robeson County, that is their specialty, but they buy and sell in the surrounding counties, across the state line in Kentucky. Everything you need from real estate, buying or selling, go to Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Realty Garden Gate team. And how do you get in contact with them? Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or you can see their listings at RobersonCounty.com. I always tell them that U-Turn sent you. Ace and Brian are in the house, and Brian looks a little different this morning. Yeah, he's got. I'm gonna get something to tie that down for you, but oh, you know what? There it is, right there. They moved it on me. But yeah, look very nice. You got the spring look going there. Y'all
My
ready?
wife hates the beard, so
Yeah,
this was
really?
our deal. Yeah, we have an anniversary coming up, so I said I would cut it before that.
Oh,
so,
how funny!
yeah.
How funny! It's amazing how different people look when you get used to them. And did you kind of do a double take when you first saw him without it?
Oh my God, you
She
look
said
weird.
I look weird. Yeah. So loving working environment.
It's it looks different. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's so funny because I've always liked my children. I like my husband with a little beard, but my children, when they first started growing beards, I was like, don't do that. And now if they were to shave, I think they would look unusual to me because I've gotten so accustomed to it. But but you get used to it. But yeah, you look very nice. You
Well,
don't
thank
look
you.
weird. You look nice.
Well, my daughter said I look weird too. She likes the beard.
I mean, when
So-
we're honest, it's the
Yeah.
best policy.
I like beards on guys, so
Right.
I'm a fan of beards.
I'm
but
surrounded by honest women in my life.
you have
so
to keep your wife happy.
That's number
Yeah,
one.
that's all that
Mama's
matters.
not happy.
Ashley's
That
happy.
that
It
term
don't
is-
matter.
Yeah, that is true.
It don't matter.
Yes.
You not fixing for anybody but Mama.
That's
So,
right. That's
you
what
know?
she wanted. She's put up with me
That's
for almost
right.
10 years, so
That's
she gets the
right.
beard shaved.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
every time I shave my beard, Shiloh's like, "What'd you do?"
You're so funny. I'm going to get something to fix that microphone while
You're
we
good.
let Ace kind of. I'm going to turn
Oh,
this
yeah.
down. So what?
Yeah, so I'm here. We're talking. We're dead in the middle of our. We've talked a lot about community impact funding and what that means, what it means to be a funded partner through United Way. We did that a little while ago. Wanted to circle back to that because right now, what I'm in the middle of, is meeting with every single one of our partners that we're funded or that are funded through United Way through our community impact funding process, and we do partner check-ins. So they've all done their mid-year reporting. They've reported on their numbers. They've talked about how it's been over the last 6 months since they started this new funding cycle. And the partner check-ins have been going wonderfully. It's been amazing to check in with all of our partners. It's been a little eye-opening too. Part of the process with a partner check-in, and especially in the environment that we've been in, is talking through some of the hurdles, the pivots, the internal grapplings. What have you learned that's been successful? What have you had to change that has actually been something that you're going to adopt full time? How has it been to serve in your capacity through all of the craziness? And I'll share that it's been, for some of our agencies, they've not seen as many clients. And so, especially in that food spectrum, we've talked a lot about what does that mean? They're seeing about half the clients. Well, think about what's been thrown at our the general public, right? So all the funding that's been pushed out, there's been intense amounts of personal funding. So we think about the economic impact payments that have come down. We're on the third one right now. There's been a lot of money that our public has been able to take advantage of. We're in the middle of tax season, right? We've got a lot of clients who are receiving that refund as well, maybe in addition to their economic impact payment if they didn't already receive it. Also, there's been, Second Harvest Food Bank has been amazing at pushing out more resources, more food resources. So when we think about, it's you think anytime a crisis happens, right? Some of our partners are going to experience a huge influx, and some may be pulled back. What does that mean for the long term, right? So a lot of the conversations we've had, maybe you've not seen as many clients over the past 6 months, but this bubble's about to burst, right? So the economic impact payments won't last forever. We don't know how long, right? We don't know how many. We don't know what the next phase may be, but what we know is there's going to be a huge need that will probably most likely crop up in the fall. And so a lot of our partners are preparing for, okay, we're going to, get our stores ready. We're getting prepared. We're preparing for the burst, right? That's going to happen, or that we're foreseeing. So it's been, again, the community impact funding, those partner check-ins, that's invaluable time that we have with those nonprofit partners. Of course, we're doing those virtually with the exception of one or two here and there, but it's been good to hear about how the partners have changed. They've been incredible. They've found incredible creative ways to continue to serve. Like I think about the Child Advocacy Center, how they're still continuing to serve and, looking at creative ways to continue to reach those families, and how they're doing that. So it's been, again, an eye-opening and wonderful experience to check in with all of our partners. And it's a lot of time. There's a lot of time we're investing in this, but it's so valuable. What we do with the information, I like to open it up anytime I do a partner check-in. You're going to spend 45 minutes with somebody. You want to know that you're not wasting your time, right? So we actually work with a consultant who is helping us to look across all 5 counties, the information that we're collecting in each of those buckets. So think about the health world. We're thinking about how we're serving there, all those nonprofit partners, education, financial stability. We're looking at what are the common themes? What keeps coming up? What are some creative ways that maybe we could cross share? So we're looking at a partner in Williamson County may have an incredibly creative way that they've pivoted. It's my least favorite word, but how have they grown and changed, and is that something that we can share across our partner network? We're also taking the time to ensure that we're sharing some of the valuable resources that we have available through United Way of Greater Nashville. I forgot this part. As a funded partner, there's a lot of professional development that's offered. We've got incredible speakers. We've got the free financial counseling. We've got the free tax prep, all those things, and professional development that's customizable too. We've got our manager of early learning, Miss Andrea Lewis. She's offering a diversity, equity, and inclusion that's customizable for our partners. That's something that's available to our community as well. So anyway, just lots of good things happening, lots of learning, lots of changing, lots of growing. And so as we work through all of the data that we're collecting, we look forward to what we'll be able to share out as well. So.
I just love that you're thinking ahead and seeing that there's going to be a burst. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, they don't want to look down the road, and it's just poor planning if you don't. And you've got to, because there's going to be a time, like you said, that these stimulus are going to stop, and you better be ready for it. And as a nonprofit that I work with, in the back of our mind, we're like, what's fall going to look like?
It's going to be crazy. I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think so too.
Well, and one of the things that we've talked a lot about with some of our financial assistance partners is, they've been pretty steady. They've seen some new clients. Obviously COVID has put some hardships with, paying rent and things like that. Of course, there's a lot of resources that have opened up through the housing authority and things like that. But we're looking at, the clients I'm trying to put this together in my head, sorry. The clients that are being served through these nonprofit partners for financial assistance are not the most financially savvy. So they're getting these big bursts of money. And what's happening is it's being utilized probably on not the smartest things, and they're not saving it. And so we know that the shift from not needing the service to needing the service, especially with financial assistance, it's probably going to come a lot sooner than fall. But I think about food resources and, utilities and things like that. That's where we're going to see the big burst, and that's what we're kind of planning for. And I'll share, especially in Robertson County, a lot of the agencies that are providing services to our clients are completely volunteer managed. So considering that they're planning, they've got some just some incredible people who are doing this work out of the goodness of their heart.
Yep.
I mean, they're not being paid. They're not getting anything out of it except that they know they're helping their community. And that's, another thing that I get overwhelmed every time I think about it. They're just literally doing this because they want to.
Yeah.
And their heart's telling them to, so anyway, we're just
And
proud to partner.
I
So.
think you guys probably get the same, kind of have the same reaction I do when people come up and thank you all the time for what you're doing. And I go, I'm on staff. I get paid to do this. You're volunteering.
You're volunteer- you're
Look,
here.
yeah. When volunteers thank me, I'm like, oh my goodness, please.
Yeah.
I'm paid to do this. And it's a privilege to be able to do that. And it's
is.
cool that you get to do that for a living. But then these volunteers, they just don't realize what they're giving, and most of them,
They're the butter.
incredible volunteers, they're so selfless,
They
and
are.
they just humble me completely. I'm so humbled around these volunteers that just keep
Absolutely.
pouring themselves out.
And that's something, anytime we're like, hey, so we need this or we need that, but like, how can I support you? What can
Yeah.
I do? I'm like, I'm here for you. That's part of what, I'm here to support you in any way. What else can I do to help support this? Because again, like you
Amazing.
say, they're the ones that are doing it because they're called to it. And so we get the privilege of being paid to
Yeah.
do what we do, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the job, obviously, but we get to see firsthand those volunteers who are showing up every day. I know, and I'll just call out, man, we've got at United Ministries Food Bank for Robertson County, Al Haval. He works there every single day.
Wow.
He works there every single day.
I've
Doesn't
never
get
been in
paid.
the building that he wasn't there.
Well, see,
He
we
is-
have
One time,
we
yeah.
have ones like that at our benevolence center.
Right.
They're every day, not
Right.
paid a penny.
He'd
Yeah.
rather be there working with the clients, and he's the one at the front. I mean, and they all
Mm.
know him. Anyway, that's where it's just like, man, tell me more. Let me learn a little
Yeah.
bit from
Yeah.
you. Like what, let's talk through this. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's incredible. Of
I
course,
know.
there's many more examples,
We
but
got
he's
another
one,
one in yesterday, it's just top of mind, but Cope. And
Oh, yeah.
And take your stuff to Cope, okay?
Oh, yeah,
Goodwill's
yeah.
fantastic, whatever, but Cope they're all volunteer run.
Mm-hmm.
It's the money goes right back into the community. And shop at Cope. They have good
Okay.
stuff in there. But bring your stuff
Mm-hmm.
up there. I bring my kids. Kids are growing like weeds. The kids' clothes they say go like crazy. The ladies in the back, very friendly, sorted, all volunteer.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're wonderful.
And they
Good to
shared,
know.
They
Good to
shared
know.
yesterday. I'm sure that if you've been up there and dropped some items off, you would know this. But they're taking very good precautions with regards to receiving items in. They're quarantining by day. That's one of
Okay.
the things that they have adopted over the. They say, this is actually something we should be doing all the time, anyways. And so they quarantine all the items by day as they come in to ensure that they let it sit long enough to ensure that there's no germs. And then obviously they're cleaning things and sorting it. So. They're volunteers. They haven't. I think they had to close the store for 2 months, but they continue to accept items and, of course, provide that financial assistance. So they have been an incredible partner. So yeah, go shop there. Go spend some
I
money.
always just thought it was a thrift store. I did not know what all they did.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much about them
Right.
through you guys, and I had seen the signage but had never really understood what they did. And I like that idea of going there instead of Goodwill. Not that, I mean, I won't even
She
go
joked
there.
with me. She
But
said she doesn't make as much as the Goodwill CEO.
does she
Which
not?
She makes zero.
She makes zero.
Yeah, that's
Right.
funny.
Yeah.
That's great. But
was
but
funny.
yeah, take your stuff to Cope. Take your
Yeah.
stuff to Cope. And with all this talking about our wonderful volunteers, do we have a hero of the week that we want to talk
Oh,
about?
yes.
And
I think that might be a good
Do we-
place to segue.
Yeah. Do
we
we
go
want to
now?
do the ad and then we can just finish up
that
with
the
that?
tease?
Why don't we
Is
do
the
that?
tease?
Hang on.
Why don't we
Hang
do
on.
that?
Hang on.
Because
Got the
because
hero of the week.
you're just so good, Ace. She's watching the clock for me
I
going,
am.
Laverne, you're about out of time, and I know you need to do another ad. And we need to talk about, everybody loves Amy Corbin. Everybody just loves this woman. She's so much fun. I was out there on Sunday to pick up my oil supply, and I can't say enough about what CBD has done to help me with my inflammation. I was skeptical, and I am now a believer, and a lot of my friends are too, and it may work for you. So, and I got to meet Bill on Sunday finally, the grower of the hemp, and that's what's processed into the oil that you see right there at Robertson. It's Robertson County product. So if you're interested in this, my best advice is to go to the source so you know exactly what you're getting, and that's what you're going to find at Corbin Creek. But now, with all the gardening stuff that's going on right now, do you have gardening questions? Every time I turn around, I have one. I called her the other day, and I was like, I want some lavender. I really want to kind of I want to have really nice lavender growing throughout my yard because I love those little lavender. My friend Donna Hagan made me a lavender wand one time, and I just love it, and I still have it. It doesn't smell good anymore, but I want to be able to grow lavender where I can make those things. I don't know why. It's just one of my things. And so I called Amy. I was like, I need some lavender. And she's a couple of weeks, and I'll have you some because it's not quite ready what she has there in the greenhouse. And she's just so honest about what they have available. I went by and bought some succulents the other day because I'm putting something together for one of my sons. And, they can help. I've got a hanging pot that I'm going to take with me. I don't know if I'll get by there this weekend, but by the way, they're going to be open Good Friday and Easter. I checked with her just the other day on that, so you can come by and see them on Easter Sunday, Good Friday, whatever. Come by and see them. But I've got a basket that I want something to put in it that will cascade, and of course I have to be sure and water it. It would be really nice if she could refer me to something that didn't require so much water. But and there may be something that will thrive on neglect because that's what I need. But those are the kinds of things that you can talk to Amy about. And when your tomato plants, if you've got tender plants, don't put them in the ground tonight or today because it's going to get down to the 20s tonight and tomorrow night. And if you've already done that, you got to cover that stuff. On Sunday, I was out and they were covering plants because they're kind of down in a hollow like I am. And we get frost down in the holler when you up on the hill don't. I'm just going to tell you. So you better cover that stuff. Talk to Amy if you have any questions about anything going on in your garden, in your yard. If you want CBD advice, go to Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts Nursery and Gardening Center Monday through Saturday. They're open 9 to 5, Sunday 1 to 5. They're at 4920 Highway 161. Always get by there. Always tell them that you turn sent you, please. And back into our conversation with Ace and Brian. What is the hero of the week?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Ace for covering for me last week. And
Yeah.
I also want to give a quick shout out to single parents. My wife was out of town last week. And God bless y'all, because I don't know how you do it on a daily basis. I thought I needed a nap.
How many kids do you have?
Two, just two.
Just two. I had 4.
Yeah, they outnumber
4
me. Though,
ages,
so,
4.5 and under.
Yeah, so again, I don't know how you did that. So anyway,
By the grace of God.
God bless single parents.
Exactly.
So she covered for me last week so I could run kids around. And I just, to Terry, our hero of last week, was fantastic to us. And he was at our Rotary meeting yesterday. And we thanked him again for the school supply drive. And I worked with Terry for a couple of summers at Parks and Rec many, many years ago. So it's kind of cool to see.
I haven't scheduled him yet. I kind of like to have him on
he's
next
good.
week. I'll be calling
There's
you,
a lot
by the
going
way.
on. He spoke to us, and the Parks and Rec department's killing it. They've got a lot going on. So anyway, heroes of the week. This week, we've done individuals last couple of weeks. This week's a group of people, and it's the Robertson County Health Department for leading our initiative and getting us all vaccinated
Absolutely.
so we can get back out and get in the world here. They've been working many, many hours and weekends, and Ace is going to speak a little more on the technical stuff with her health background, but we're just so thankful for their leadership in this area. I know when the governor first put out the timetable, for my age range, we were supposed to be in like September or October, and I'm scheduled on Monday to get mine.
Oh,
so
really?
We are so far ahead on this thing, so that we can maybe hopefully get some normalcy back in our world. But we just want to thank them for their leadership as a community and get us all vaccinated and well so we can hug and be around each other.
Robertson County Health Department,
Shout
the
out.
hero of
Yep.
the week. I'm going to
Yep.
get them back on too because I
Yeah.
need to get an update from them.
Well, and they've pulled staff who would not normally be working that type of an event, and they've all been pulled in different directions to work the not only some of the testing sites, but the vaccination sites. Of course, that's where they're focusing their efforts, and they've been short-staffed. They have been understaffed, and they've all continued to show up and have a smile on their face, and they've not been met with the most friendly people in the whole wide world. So, just show them a little love because they've really been working. They've been there's a plane that's been flying, and they've been putting the pieces together, and they have continued to evolve and continue to serve the community. And so, I just think it's an absolute huge shout out to the leadership there with both Robertson and Cheatham County is run by Rachel Ellis, and her leadership for her team and every individual underneath have just been outstanding. So but a little bit about what the release that's there. So Brian was talking about vaccine eligibility. Of course, the release was sent out last week that every individual every resident age 16 and older is now eligible to receive the vaccine. And so that's an excellent offering. We encourage you to check the website. Of course, there's some pharmacies that are offering the vaccines as well. So check in with them if you feel more comfortable there. But know that you can visit vaccinate.tn.gov. So vaccinate.tn.gov, or you may call the hotline 866-442-5301. Again, 866-442-5301 to schedule your appointment. We encourage you to get the vaccine. It's one of the ways that we are looking forward to getting back to some sort of normalcy, like Brian was saying. And we just, it's an important thing for you to do for your community. And if you have any questions, concerns, know that there's lots of resources out there that can help guide you on making the right choice for yourself. Do the research, look at it. Nobody can force you to get it right now. And so, just make the choice that's right for you and your family. But do your homework, please do so. And don't trust everything you read on the internet. So call and speak to a professional, call and speak to someone who can provide you an educated response. That's maybe my most bit of encouraging. So.
And I thought it was really interesting. Every medical person I've talked to, all the doctors I trust, I've asked them, and they're like, "Of course you need to get it."
Yeah.
Of course you need to get it. When I was talking with them from the hospital, and they were talking about how that when it comes to their medical people, every single one of those people got it. But then just people that are just staff, then not so much. And a lot of it is information that a lot of times we're finding out is misinformation. And some of it, please seek truth, not just the truth you want, but the truth, and on this especially. And I want the single vaccine. What can you tell me?
I can give you a little bit of info on that.
'Cause that's the one I want.
Our local pharmacy, Southside Drugs.
Okay.
I went by and talked to Drew on Monday. He's a friend of mine. I grew up with him. I'm in Rotary with him. 2 Rotary shout-outs and one deal here. Anyway, and they are getting the Johnson & Johnson, and that's what I'm getting on
That's
Monday.
the single.
That's
Yeah,
the single
that's the single.
shot.
Okay.
And I had some questions for him, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, as part of Roberts County Health Department's mass leadership on this, I think it's allowed like a local pharmacy like that to be able to,
Right.
They kind of took the brunt of the early part of this. And so the pharmacies kind of come in and so they're getting some in, and they're doing it at the senior center starting Monday. And so, but yeah, I had questions. I went by, I talked to him, and he answered a lot of them, and it was fantastic. And so they are getting, I think, 100, he said. So.
Okay.
And that's finding a professional that you trust.
Right.
That's the
That's
thing.
the key.
Right.
Find a professional that you trust. And Drew and all the pharmacists over at Southside are incredibly proficient, and they understand and can explain in a way. But again, find again an educated professional who can provide you some guidance. I think that's go to your primary care provider, whoever your trusted healthcare professional is. Talk to them. So that they can
Not
guide
your
you.
uncle on Facebook.
Please don't. No. Yeah,
Would
exactly.
Probably, like somebody that actually works in the
yeah.
industry would be probably who
Yeah.
I would recommend.
And that's the big thing. And I'm going to be we're going back to Mexico for our mission stuff that we're going to start going back to Mexico into July. And, I had a friend on Monday that nearly died from COVID. She's younger than me, healthier than me, and it just hit her like that. Kind of like what happened with Sherry Black, because they found her unconscious. She passed, by the way, if you hadn't heard about our Sherry's florist. Yeah. And they found her unresponsive, and she had been fine, and she was just. And that's what happened to my friend Jennifer. Is she was feeling a little bad, and then all of a sudden she was just out. Yeah. And it happened that quickly, and. I just, at first, early on, I had a lot to say about it. I'm like, I'm not getting the vaccine. But as I have sought information and talked to people who I trust in the medical community, I would be foolish to go to Mexico and not be vaccinated. That would just be, in my opinion. That is my opinion, and that's everything that I've talked to people. My husband's, he has a mild heart problem in comparison. It's not something that'll, cause him to drop dead, but he's got underlying health conditions. Why would we not? I don't know. I just think there's so much misinformation. Please go talk to your medical professionals that you trust and make an informed decision.
Right. And I get the trepidations that
I
people
do
are
too.
having, but
I do too.
He's right. It's an excellent point. Like, go talk to people that
You trust.
are in it every
That
day.
know about this stuff.
Right. I don't. That's
Yeah.
not my background. Like, I don't know anything about vaccines. You know? So I went and talked to somebody that I trusted, that I thought that would shoot me straight.
Yeah,
did. So,
exactly. So tell them again how they can get online and find out about vaccination.
Sure, absolutely. So it's vaccinate.tn.gov. It's a very user-friendly website. I encourage you to check it out. Again, vaccinate, so vaccinate.tn.gov. And then, or you may call to schedule an appointment, and I believe that you can talk to someone there, 866 866-442-5301. Again, 866-442-5301. And again, we're just the conduit through which this information
Right.
is coming. So this is absolutely run and led by the state, Department of Health and Robertson County Health Department. But just wanted to share the information once more. I think it's been shared before, just because we had our hero of the week. So they're the professionals, they're the experts.
go
We
talk
want
to
you to
them.
reach out to them. We're just proud to give
Can't
them a shout
imagine
out.
what they've been
So-
dealing with.
Oh, me either.
Yeah, I've
Me
heard
either. God bless
stories,
you. God bless you. For sure.
Thank
For
y'all,
sure.
real.
Absolutely. Anything
we might
else?
need to do
got,
them 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, we got another. Yeah, exactly. The health department. But got anything else for us before we got like a
No.
minute or two here?
But so they've led our COVID, the Robertson County Health Department has led our COVID vaccinations, but also they have not stopped to continue offering the same services that they routinely offer.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of our friends from my father's house that have been connected with them and are now getting plugged in with the healthcare providers there. They've continued to provide, regular checks, emergency visits and things like that. Well, I shouldn't say emergency, excuse me, urgent visits and, medications and anything that our public needs. And so aside from just the COVID vaccinations, they've continued to serve. So just, anyway, just wanted to give them a shout out.
Amen. Absolutely. Love our Robertson County, Cheatham County Health Department. We talk about them being Robertson County, but I forget that they carry 2 counties.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a
So-
lot to do, and we'll call and get them on. Got a lot of open slots next week, and some things we're going to be booking. So maybe we can reach out and get them in next week. And I definitely want to get Terry on from the Parks Department because that's another fun visit I want to
He's
have.
fun.
And thank y'all. Y'all make my job so much easier. They're just wonderful. Ace Timmermeier, Brian Pulley from United Way. They are always our guest at 7:30 on Thursday, and just always bringing us all kinds of great information about the nonprofits and building those bridges and connecting those things. When we connect with each other, we get so much more done. Wouldn't you say?
Amen.
God bless you guys. Tomorrow is our Faith Friday segment. We'll be hearing from Matt Driscoll with My Father's House, and we'll be coming in talking a lot about Easter and all of that as well. But it'll be a great show. I hope you'll be here at 1100 WSG High. Have a wonderful day.